have you covered. From energy-saving LED upgrades to setting up grain bins in the field, Lohr Electric handles residential, commercial, and ag projects with expert care. And when you call, they'll actually call you back fast. For top-notch service and serious know-how, call Lohr Electric, because they don't just do more, they care more at Lohr Electric.
Big savings are waiting at Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland, Kansas. Get a 25 Chevy Silverado 1500 with 0.9% APR for 60 months plus $3,500 trade-in cash. Or choose a 25 GMC Sierra 1500 Turbo Max, 0.9% APR, or up to over $7,800 off if you own a GMC or Buick. And don't forget, military members get an extra $750 cash allowance. It's happening now at Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland, Kansas. Online at hurlchev.com.
Spring is in full swing at Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware. Get your lawn and garden looking their best with Ultimate Fertilizer and gear up with Eco blowers and mowers for the season ahead. Tackling a project, they've got a surplus of quality lumber ready for all your building needs. And when the work's done, fire up the fun with their wide selection of grills, smokers, and griddles from Traeger, Weber, and Blackstone. Stop by Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware in Goodland and Colby, your one-stop shop for spring projects, big and small.
If you're shopping for a banking institution, visit with Equity Bank of Hoxie, Grinnell, and Quinter, Kansas. The Equity Bank is heavily invested in local business and activities contributing in many ways back to their community. Their employees are involved with many organizations and area events. Plus, a lot of experience comes with that staff. You'll find valuable local assistance when you bank at the Equity Bank of Hoxie, Grinnell, Quinter, and other locations in Western Kansas. The Equity Bank, member FDIC.
You ready? Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4!
It's time for the Morning Blitz with Ross Volkmer.
I am old and I am white, and I do not understand it in any way, shape, or form.
The High Plains only local sports talk show.
Not this again.
Yes, this again.
Broadcasting live on Rocket 102.5 and streaming on YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Who's got it better than us? Nobody!
Covering it all from the preps.
It's an air ball in the Colby Eagles, victorious in Hugoton.
To the pros.
Here is hit to left. It's deep. Going back, Gurriel. It's gone. He has done it again. His second home run tonight. And the Rockies have come back to take the lead.
The Blitz is presented by Hurl Chevrolet GMC, Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware, and F&B Bank. Along with the insurance agency, the Farmer State Bank in Oakley, the Cowboy Corner Express, and Equity Bank of Hoxie, Quinter, and Grinnell.
Let's go to work.
First pitch, and that one's hit down the left field line, slicing toward the corner. It is a fair ball. Might score another run. Runner being waved in. Sanchez, play at the plate. Here comes the throw, and out at home. What a relay by Arcia, the shortstop.
Ball forward from Kent. Oh, Atwood swings and it's into the left field. A base hit. One run scores. Here comes Scott. She will score. Atwood with a 2-run single. And Texas leads 2-1.
Pops it up. Jolie Mitchell at first base, and she's got it. And the Texas Longhorns rally to win game 1 of the finals.
There's McDavid. Out in front. Score! Leon Draisaitl. The Oilers win game 1.
And good Thursday morning. Welcome inside the Morning Blitz on Goodland's Rocket 102.5. Of course, also on NWKSradio.net and the Hurl Chevrolet GMC video stream on X, Facebook, and YouTube. So glad that you're with us here on this Thursday, June the 5th. A little bit of precipitation early this morning. So the grass a little bit wetter than just a typical morning. And there's maybe the pavement a little bit damp, at least here in Goodland. But overall, a beautiful start to the day. The sun's starting to make its way out. Expect it to be a partly cloudy day. Temperatures in around the mid to upper 60s are expected for high for this Thursday. There is some chances, as you heard from Chris Schromick, some chances for some weather possibly coming into the area tonight. Certainly more chances of it here this weekend. There is chance of precipitation, though, it looks like, for the next few days. So be aware of all that. Certainly not going to turn away this rain. It has been fantastic. And these cooler temperatures, too. I'm not going to lie. I've enjoyed the cooler temperatures. I will take the cool temps as long as I can get them. No doubt about it. But anyway, glad you're with us on this Thursday morning. As always, the F&B Bank text line is open and operational at 785-899-2222. Number part of the Morning Blitz each and every morning here with your thoughts, your comments, as well as your opinions. Today's program, our good friend Riley Gates of On3 Sports will be stopping by, visiting with him. He's a humongous Florida Panthers fan. And I don't know if anybody stayed up late enough last night to watch the end of Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Finals, but it did not go the way of the Panthers as Edmonton wins it with less than 30 seconds to go in overtime. 4-3, Leon Draisaitl right in front of the net, able to get one past Zabrowski, who was pretty much amazing all night long, I thought, for the most part. But the Oilers get the win 4-3 in a come-from-behind deal. The Oilers were down by 2 goals going into the third period, scored 2 of them, and then end up winning it in overtime there in Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Finals. So we'll talk more about that with Riley Gates. I can guarantee you that as he'll be joining the program here coming up at the bottom of the hour, and look forward to visiting with him about that. We'll talk about many other things as well with Riley Gates. We'll get to some other things in segment 3, the Royals and Rockies. We'll get to the Royals a little bit. The Rockies, though, how about this? Sweep a series. They beat the Marlins yesterday 3-2. That's now 3 consecutive wins. I mean, I don't even know what to say, but the Rockies with a sweep of a series since May of 2024. Can you believe it? May of 2024 is the last time the Colorado Rockies won a series. It's been over a year. That's 57 series. But they get a sweep. I cannot believe it. The Rockies with a sweep of an opponent yesterday. I mean, if you're the Marlins, you feel horrible. But the Rockies' first sweep of an opponent since May of 2024, they win 3-2. You heard the highlight there in the intro. It was the relay throw-in that saved the lead in that game. And the Rockies with a win there. And like I said, I think if you're a Rockies fan, I think you have to kind of live it up today. Live it up today, and hope you enjoyed yesterday, and you live it up today, and even into tomorrow. I don't think this is going to all of a sudden we're going to see a humongous spurt of wins. I would be surprised, but I think you have to live it up, especially considering the schedule. They've got the Mets up next to lead the NL East, and I would say it's probably going to be not as easy to get wins. So I don't know. Maybe this is the start of something where the Rockies can get a more respectable record. I mean, they're still 12-50. Let's not go crazy here. But I mean, if the Rockies can find a way to, I don't know. If they could win a game of series, it would be great. But I just don't think that's going to happen. So we'll see. I have a feeling it's going to revert back to the norm at least this year, starting on Friday with their series against the Mets, where they will probably struggle to win some games. But hey, you know what? They get their first series win. They get their first series sweep. And you know what? Just to get that monkey off that back, it has got to feel really, really good. So once again, if you're a Rockies fan, live it up over the next 24 to 48 hours before Game 1 Friday against the Mets. Because it may be a while before you get another series victory. We will see. Maybe not throughout another month or so. But anyway, I thought that was funny as the Rockies do get a series sweep, snapping a streak of 57 consecutive series that they did not get a sweep. So that is amazing. Anyway, today in segment number 1, I want to dive into another topic that I saw. Once again, I've been backloading a lot of these things, but going back to college football with talking about Kansas football coach and K-State football coach Lance Leipold and Chris Kleiman, respectively. As CBS Sports put out our coaches ranking. They do it every single year. And I find this coaches ranking to be interesting to see what people think of particular coaches across college football. And I will say this, you have to give a lot of credit because both Kansas and Kansas State, over the history, if you want to go back to, you go back before Bill Snyder. You want to go back before Lance Leipold. My guess is you probably weren't going to find football coaches that led this program. Now, of course, way, way, way before Bill Snyder. It's been a long time ago. But in the history of these football programs, they probably did not have coaches that were in the top 25. They probably didn't even have coaches that were in the top 50 in college football. But going into this year of 2025, the season of 2025 ahead, both coaches from Kansas and Kansas State are considered top 25 coaches. In fact, they are considered top 15 coaches. They are both top 15 in college football when it comes to coaching, according to CBS Sports. Lance Leipold comes in at number 15. He's the lowest ranked one. And Chris Kleiman, just one spot ahead at number 14. I mean, if you think about it, just you can go back just the last 20 years or something like that. I mean, yes, Kansas State has been and Bill Snyder deserves a ton of credit for resurrecting that program and getting it to the levels that it has been. And Chris Kleiman, to the credit of Gene Taylor, which more on that in just a moment, but bringing in Chris Kleiman, who has, I think, done a really good job of keeping the program, I believe, at the same level with really no slip, I think has been fantastic. And so I do believe that this ranking is actually right there. I mean, if you look at the coaches that are ahead of those two gentlemen, so Kirby Smart is number 1 at Georgia. Ryan Day is number 2 at Ohio State. Then Dabo Swinney at Clemson at 3. Steve Sarkisian at 4. Dan Lanning at 5. Marcus Freeman at 6 at Notre Dame. James Franklin at 7. Brian Kelly at 8. Kalen DeBoer at 9. Matt Campbell at 10 at Iowa State. Kyle Whittingham at 11 at Utah. Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss. Lincoln Riley at USC. And then comes Kleiman and Leipold. I mean, if you think about it, they are on the precipice of being up there with the elite college football coaches. Like, some of these guys, I don't know. I mean, I always say Dan Lanning kind of fell into a great spot. I don't have anything against Dan Lanning. Seems like a nice guy, great guy. But he also is at Oregon, where they have unbelievable facilities and a money pot that is never ending, thanks to Grandpa Phil. But, I would say if you look at Dan Lanning, and I don't know, I want to see people, if this is a coach thing, I want to, what can you do with what you have? And a lot of these coaches have kind of had to make their way up. I mean, they truly have. A lot of these coaches have kind of had to work their way up to an extent. Like, I look at guys like Brian Kelly, who was at Division II, Grand Valley State when he was starting, and has made his way up now to LSU. Kalen DeBoer was one of the most winningest coaches at Sioux Falls, moving his way up now to Alabama. I've always been a huge Kyle Whittingham fan. I feel like he's done more. He's probably, to me, in the same category as Leipold and Kleiman, where they are bringing programs up, lifting programs up with their coaching ability. So a lot of these programs, like we talked about, the Georgias, the Ohio States, the Clemsons, the Texases, a lot of them. Matt Campbell will be in that same boat as well, lifting Iowa State to realms. But you like Campbell, Whittingham, Kleiman, Leipold. Those are all programs that I would not consider to be college football blue bloods, but their coaching ability has lifted them into the top 15 of their profession. And so they're coaching at more difficult spots, but still winning at a great level. And that's where, once again, I give us so much credit. I can't give enough credit to the athletic directors of both Kansas State and Kansas. Travis Goff of KU and Gene Taylor there at K-State. I think those two guys, they have changed the direction of both Kansas and Kansas State's athletic departments drastically since they both got here. I believe they both have. Because if you think about the hires that those two gentlemen have made for their respective institutions, you're going to see that they have hit on a lot of stuff. They really have. Just think about it. So we'll start with Gene Taylor. He's got to hire the replacement for Bill Snyder. That is a really difficult job. You got to replace the person who pretty much saved your program from being completely, put away. Completely. There was a time when I think people thought the Kansas State football wouldn't survive. They were just going to shut down the program. They were so bad. So you got to find the guy who prevented that, and not only prevent it, but raise them to a level that people never thought they would get to, playing for Big 12 championships and on the precipice of national championship conversations. And You went out and you found a guy in Chris Kleiman who had great success at North Dakota and at North Dakota State, excuse me, and has come here and he has continued to kind of, I think, run the program in a similar manner to Bill Snyder. And still, I feel like it's been a perfect transition between that. And that is so difficult to do. So I give a lot of credit to that. Once again, you go back to Gene Taylor and his hiring of Jerome Tang, which I think over the last couple of years has maybe knocked down a peg or two, but you couldn't argue what happened the first time that Jerome Tang stepped on the sideline to coach K-State basketball, and they made that Elite Eight run and almost a Final Four run. I mean, that was amazing. And then you also, if you want to go to even further into like baseball, for example, you go into baseball and you look at what Gene Taylor did, bringing in Pete Hughes. I mean, that's a program in Kansas State who has been okay, but not great. But you look now that they're playing in consecutive, postseasons. That program is on the up and up. And if you walk around Kansas State's campus, the facilities, athletically wise, are top notch, new, shiny, fantastic. I mean, Gene Taylor to me is one of the best athletic directors because, I'm not saying that he's done everything like that. That he was responsible for all of it, but he has helped push it through, and he has brought in the coaches to continue to have good success, I believe, at Kansas State. I think it's been a really good showing, considering what the program has been and where it could be. I think he's done a phenomenal job as Gene Taylor, and Chris Kleiman proves that with being a top 15 coach, and I think he is. Once again, I have so much more respect for any coach, guy, girl, doesn't matter, that steps into a program and makes them better, even though they may not have every single resource. I mean, it's not easy to recruit to Manhattan, Kansas. It's a small town. It's a great town, but it's a small town. It's in Kansas. They probably, recruits probably think there's cornfields and lots of stuff for agriculture all around it. It's a beautiful setting, but it's hard. It's hard to recruit to places like that in the middle of America, especially when all the talent is in the Southeast. Or on the East Coast. That's hard to do, or down in Texas to pull it up. But they've done a decent job. They've done a pretty good job, and they've been very competitive. So like I said, according to CBS Sports, he was ranked by their panel as high as 11 or low as 32. I once again, I just go back to the fact that I think Chris Kleiman's done a great job with holding the program kind of where Bill Snyder had put it when he came back and keeping it there. And I still think they are going to grow. I just think they need a little bit more time. Once again, maybe that's this year. We'll see, depending on what Avery Johnson can do at the quarterback spot. But and not to mention Kleiman's Gene Taylor and Chris Kleiman, all that, they've done a great job, helping raise money for NIL, which has been big for all the programs there. So big there. But considering my point, moving over to Kansas and Lance Leipold and Travis Goff, I mean, you think about the success that he has had as an athletic director coming in. I mean, Travis Goff has come in and he had to find a way to fix the football program. I mean, it was in a horrific spot with Les Miles. I mean, it hasn't had any sort of success since Mark Mangino back in the mid 2000s. And so he had to start over, and he went out and got a guy who is one of the ultimate builders. I mean, a guy that was winning a lot like Kleiman, was winning national championships at a lower level at Wisconsin Whitewater, and then proved that he had won so many I think he won 6 national championships, something like that, had won so many of those. And then he works his way up. He goes to Buffalo. How are you going to win at Buffalo? But he did. He won at Buffalo, led them to the top of the MAC, and then takes this job at Kansas. And guess what? In his first couple of years, he had Kansas already turned around. I think Lance Leipold is in a tougher situation football-wise than Chris Kleiman, but he has raised the program very, very high. I would almost probably flip the two and put Leipold ahead of Kleiman as 14 and 15, but that's just my opinion. They're right there, and I think a lot of the people in this panel would agree that they're in the same boat, that they've both risen up the coaching ladder and they have proven that they can do it successfully, that is, coach at the higher levels. And so they bring in Leipold, but think about Travis Goff and what he's had to do. He has come in and not only hired a football coach that I think is going to have success. Yes, I know they went 5-7 last year. I get that. But if they can stay healthy this year, I think they're going to have a much improved season. But you take Leipold And then you add in the fact that, he brought in Dan Fitzgerald at the baseball program, and look what they did, had the most successful season that you've ever seen, that they've ever had in Kansas baseball. You look at that. We'll see about the new hire for volleyball, but they pulled the guy to Oregon. I mean, that's really, really good. So Travis Goff has done a great job. And not to forget, of course, he has been at the point, he has started this and is in the middle of this, in this redoing of the booth. And I think it's going to look great here coming up in this fall. And yeah, they still got more half of it to do, but I think it's going to look really, really good. Like I said, when I look at from an outsider's perspective, a person who has not followed Kansas or Kansas State sports just super, super closely throughout all the years, but just kind of watched it from afar and seeing where they were to where they are now, there's no way you cannot give so much credit to their athletic directors and what they have done here ever since in the last 5 to 10 years. I mean, they've done, I'd say in the last 5 years for sure, what they've done with the hires that they have made and the improvements they have made with facilities. They have set up Kansas and Kansas State to have great success here in the coming years. They really, truly have. And because of that, I think you're seeing the coaches have the success, hence this ranking here where you see 2 coaches in the top 15. Leipold at 15, Kleiman at 14. And just behind the likes of Lincoln Riley, Lane Kiffin, 2 masterful offensive minds, Kalen DeBoer, James Franklin, Marcus Freeman, who's probably the hottest football coach after last year, and then of course, Kirby Smart and Ryan Day and Dabo Swinney and Sark, all those guys that are at the top of this. But there's one thing I look at all those. I look at Georgia, Ohio State, Clemson, Texas, Oregon, Notre Dame, LSU, Bama. The top 9 teams, those are all blue blood programs. Those are all programs where as long as you don't have a moron sitting there at the coach's seat, you're going to probably win some football games. That's the way I see it. You get down to like this. There's tier 1 of the team of the coaches that I think if you pulled them away from their program and just hired anybody off the street, they'd probably fall in a heap. Matt Campbell and at Iowa State and Utah's Kyle Whittingham. That's probably that group right there. And like I said, then the secondary of that group is Chris Kleiman and Lance Leipold. I feel like if you pulled these coaches out of if you fired them for whatever dumb reason and just brought in some people off the street, I don't believe that those programs would probably survive, would not have the success that they're seeing. And once again, it's a ton of credit to Kansas and Kansas State. But I think I always love to see these rankings and seeing where but think about this. I mean, Kansas and Kansas State, especially Kansas, if you would have gone back just 5 years ago, they wouldn't have been in the top 50. Now they have a coach that's in the top 15. That's amazing. And Kansas State, Bill Snyder has done a phenomenal job building things up for such a long time. And I just give so much credit to Gene Taylor and to Chris Kleiman. That transition has just been so seamless that they've continued to have great success there in Manhattan. But I don't know. I find those coaching rankings very interesting. By the way, if you're a Colorado Buffalo fan, Deion Sanders coming in at 33 and Matt Rule for Nebraska, for our Husker fans out there, 32 in this ranking. So they're a little bit further down the totem pole. I mean, if you look at it from Coach Prime's perspective, he was in the 60s last year, jumped up to 30. I think it's I will be very intrigued this year to see Colorado football. What does it look like without Shadur under center? What does that look like? I am highly intrigued to see how that looks. Does the offense change? Did they change it because they don't want, his Prime's not trying to get his son a whole bunch of stats. That's just kind of in the back of my mind there. I don't know. I'm interested to see that. I'm very fascinated to see that. Matt Rule at 32, I think it's probably right where it needs to be. But upcoming here is year number 3 for Matt Rule. And in the trend and in the history of Matt Rule, and it's talked about ad nauseum up north of the border, year number 3 is where Matt Rule makes the jump. Year 1, he comes in, they stink. They're really not very good. Year number 2, they make a jump, they get to a bowl game. And year number 3, they make a big jump, and they're into double-digit wins. I don't know if I'm going to see that happen this year. But it'd be interesting if it did happen. That's the trend of Matt Rule. But it's a different era of college football, that is for sure. All right, let's get to a break. When we come back, we will have Riley Gates join us from On3 Sports. We will get to the Women's College World Series a little bit later on in the show as well, so stick around. As always, FB Bank text line open through the break and throughout the show, so get your thoughts and comments in. Back with Riley Gates next here on The Blitz.
Are pests making your home or business uncomfortable? Call Pestaway in Goodland, Kansas, serving all of Northwest Kansas. They provide top-notch pest control services to keep your space safe and pest-free. From ants to rodents, termites to spiders, our expert team is here to help with effective, safe, and affordable pest control solutions. Don't wait. Call Pestaway today at 785-728-7166 for fast, reliable service. Your home or business deserves the best protection.
It's time for a check of the markets with the Anderson Trade Group on the Kansas Farm and Ranch Radio Network.
Good morning, this is Kate Thompson with the Anderson's Trade Group. Today is Thursday, June 5th. On the overnights last night, July corn higher 3 cents at 441 3/4, September up 1 1/4 at 429 1/4, December up 1 1/4 at 445, March corn up a cent at 460 1/4. July soybeans lower 3 1/4 on the overnights at 1041 3/4, August down 2 1/4 at 1036 1/4, September down 2 at 1015 1/4, November beans down 2 cents at 1023. Chicago wheat, the July contract higher 2.5 at 545 3/4, September up 3 cents at 516 1/4, December up 2 3/4 at 581 3/4, March soft wheat up 2.5 at $6. Kansas City wheat, the July contract higher 1/4 cent at 540 3/4, September up 1/4 at 554 1/4, December up 1/4 at 575 3/4, March hard wheat up 1/4 cent at 594 3/4. On the stock market this morning, the Dow up $112 at 42,605, the S&P up 15 at 5,996, the Nasdaq up 57 at 21,823, gold higher $6.40 an ounce at $3,405.60, crude oil up 80 cents a barrel at $63.65. If you have any questions about marketing grain or would like to talk about risk management options, give our Colorado office a call. John Hanke or John Stiles at 970-744-4484, or in our Kansas City office, myself, Tom Saludo, Jared Law, or Tyler Ghosh at 913-748-3000.
The Anderson Trade Group, proud market partners with Kansas Farm and Ranch Radio. Find out more at andersongrain.com. The risk of loss through trading futures and or options is substantial, and each investor and or trader must consider whether this is a suitable investment. Past performance, whether actual or indicated, is not indicative of future results. The Anderson Trade Group has no guarantee that the advice given will result in profitable trades.
Imagine having more days of perfect weather, a combine that's more powerful, or even more soybean bushels per acre at harvest. With Revitech fungicide, you don't have to imagine that last one, because it's proven to deliver up to 9.5.
Get a 25 Chevy Silverado 1500 with 0.9% APR for 60 months plus $3,500 trade-in cash. Or choose a 25 GMC Sierra 1500 Turbo Max, 0.9% APR, or up to over $7,800 off if you own a GMC or Buick. And don't forget, military members get an extra $750 cash allowance. It's happening now at Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland, Kansas. Online at hurlchev.com.
From the locker room to your morning commute, it's all sports, all the time.
It's all they talk about.
This is the Morning Blitz with Ross Volkmer.
– 7:36 Mountain, 8:36 Central Time on a Thursday morning. 53 degrees and cloudy. Working our way a high in the low to mid 60s today. We are pleased to welcome into the program our good friend from On3 Sports. It's Riley Gates, who joins us on the phone. I'm surprised he's actually up. I was kind of concerned, Riley. I didn't know if you'd be up. I figured you might be wallowing in tears, still sleeping in. I didn't know after that loss last night. How are you recovering from that loss for your Panthers?
Oh, when you texted me and asked if I'd come on a show, I would be lying if I said I didn't slightly consider, because it was I think it was the third. I think it was 3-2, maybe 3-1 still. And I was like, oh man, if they lose this game, or like if something goes wrong, or if they win this game and I stay up too late celebrating, like it'd be rough. But I'm okay. It is what it is. Just game one, a lot of hockey play. So bummer, should have won that game, but they didn't. And that's sports.
I mean, does it hurt more just because the fact you were up by 2 goals? Is that probably the biggest thing why it stings as much as it does?
I just think it's losing a road game. I mean, you know, the saying in like games in 7-game series is it's not a series until the road team wins one. And if you can steal one, especially if you can steal one on the road, especially when it's a road start, you're feeling really good going home. And it was for the taking right there, and they blew it. And it's really simple. Like I kind of sat back, thought about it. I listened to some stuff, and they just got conservative. They were up 3-1, and they were playing aggressive, and then they gave up a really greasy goal to make it 3-2. And it's just like, man, their whole game just changed. They still had the lead, but you'd have thought they were down 2 goals in the third. So it's frustrating to lose one like that, but I'm pretty confident in the boys bouncing back. Obviously, they were down 2-0 to the Leafs and rallied back from that one. Heck, they were down 3-1 in game 3, down 2-0, and came back and won the series. They've been down before. So yeah, it is what it is. We'll see how game 2 goes, and if it's brutal, we'll get a little concerned from there. But like I said, a lot of hockey to be played, and we still got to get back to home ice, play a little in Sunrise. So long way to go before anything's decided.
I'm telling you, I was watching last night. It's like, God, please get this game over before this overtime period is done. Because I was like, if I got to stay up and watch it, if I got to stay up and watch this through another overtime period, it's going to get way past my bedtime. I'm not going to see the end of it. So no offense. I was kind of glad it came to an end when it did.
Well, my wife was like laying there. Well, I was like, you can go to bed. I'll just go, because we don't have like a basement or an upstairs. We just have like one floor that everything's on. And I was like, I'll go over to my office and watch them there. So I was kind of like loading up my like phone and my laptop and stuff to go back into my office and watch the second overtime. And then I was like, of course, that's how that ends. So yeah, real brutal.
Riley Gates is our guest. He's joining us on the Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware hotline. Riley, I want to get into a topic or talk about it in the first segment here. A few weeks ago, CBS Sports put out this coaches ranking. I'm sure you guys at On3 have done your kind of stuff for ranking season and things of that. And the thing that stands out to me is that in the top 25 are both Chris Kleiman and Lance Leipold. Can you kind of give me your thoughts on it? Because I think it's just so impressive considering where those programs were in the history of their programs, and whether it was K-State many years ago before Bill Snyder, or even just a few years ago with KU, where these programs were, and to now have 2 coaches that are both inside the top 15 of college football. How cool is that to see that here in the Sunflower State?
Yeah, I would say it's really impressive to see. Honestly, I think both sides you can look at it and be like insanely impressed. From the KU side of things, it's obviously, you flash back a few years ago and nobody would ever thought this program would be going to bowls, being ranked, having a top, like you said, listed coach there. And so just in and out of itself is insanely impressive. And then from the K-State side of things, it's like everybody always said only Bill Snyder can win at K-State. And forever they were right. Like obviously retired in 2005, Ron Prince comes in, he can't win. Bill Snyder comes back, he wins again. It's like, okay, I know that's kind of what haters say. I know that's what they make fun of you for, but can you blame them? Like they appear to be right. It does look like only Bill Snyder can win here. And not only has Chris Kleiman won at K-State, but he's continued to build the program. I would say he's elevated it. I mean, he won a Big 12 championship in his first 5 years. That something Bill Snyder didn't do. So I would say it's really, really impressive to not only to have 2 Kansas schools on there, but to have them considering the context of both for sure.
Can you also, one thing that I dove into in the first segment was talking about the athletic directors and what they have done. I mean, you look at Gene Taylor and Travis Goff and how good they have been. Can you kind of give me your thoughts on it? Because I think they've been unbelievable ADs to bring these programs, not just football, but other programs around them to have so much success, baseball, basketball, everything included.
Well, I mean, I definitely can't say as much in detail from the KU side of things, just not known it as well. But I do know that, like, Travis Goff inherited a mess. Like, I mean, honestly, he really did. The Les Miles situation just buyout and kind of where the program was when from when that hire and fire was made. Obviously, there's been an FBI investigation with the basketball program. Nothing major came of that, obviously, but it's just like, man, that's a headache to have to deal with as an athletic director, especially when you don't know everything that kind of went on behind the scenes before you got there. And I think he's obviously kind of handled that all in stride and found his way. And then now you're building a new football stadium. So I'd say that's insanely impressive work by him. And then from the K-State side of things, it's just like, I'm still just so impressed by Gene Taylor. And I've not really spoken to Gene much since I left the K-State beat, since I left Manhattan. And so I haven't really kind of gotten a sense of where he's at on everything, but just from my 2-3 years there, covering him closely and really getting to know him both as a person and as an athletic director, is just like, I'm blown away by him, because he just seems like a really quiet, humble guy who you really don't have much to expect from. And then he just goes to work and he hires Chris Kleiman, despite everybody thinking it's just his drinking buddy, you guys just knew each other in North Dakota State. And he obviously made a great hire. Jerome Tang, it's a little shaky right now, but he still makes it to an Elite Eight in his first year. And Gene Taylor has found a way to not only give him opportunities to succeed, but build that NIL, which we know in today's day and age is so crucial, especially in college basketball, to have a healthy NIL budget. And K-State is supposedly among the biggest in the country, and that's of no it's definitely a credit to Gene Taylor, I guess what I'm trying to say, to be able to not only get that money once, but to be able to get it a second time. Because after last year and the whole Coleman Hawkins situation, to be able to get donors to donate that much again and go get someone like a PJ Haggerty out of the transfer portal, great work by Gene Taylor. So, yeah, I'd say both schools are in great hands when it comes to athletic director.
We're visiting with Riley Gates of On3 Sports here in the Morning Blitz. I want to I want to kind of go back to more of our conversation I had yesterday talking about the playoff and, of course, the 5+11 and whatever it's the 4-4-4, 2-2-1-1, whatever the heck that thing is. Where do you stand on this whole conversation? What are your thoughts on what's been discussed about the upcoming editions of expanding this playoff and the format they want to go about doing it? Where do you stand on this?
I'm honestly split. And a little undecided. I know that doesn't make for good radio, so I'm sorry, but at first I was very against automatic bids, and I still kind of am to an extent. I don't think you should just get in because of the conference you play in. I don't think that just because you're the fourth best team in the SEC and we agreed to this 4-4, 2-2-1, I don't think that should just get you an automatic bid in. I think you should have to earn your way in. However, then I take a step back, and this last week at the SEC spring meetings, you had Greg Sankey pushing, for one where it's just an at-large, it's a picket by, earn your spot, top 12 teams. And I like that in theory, but if I'm being honest, I don't really trust ESPN, the college football playoff rankings, whoever's really in charge of it behind the scenes. I don't really trust them to maybe not stack the top 12 in the SEC's favor, the Big Ten's favor. In a perfect world, it's great to have, okay, let's get a 16-team playoff and no auto bids, not even winning your conference gets you in. We just take the top 16 ranked teams and we have them play it out on the field. And that's how we decide it. That's a great idea on paper, but we know how rankings work. Alabama losing to Georgia or losing to Florida in November does not hit if they were number one, they're not going to fall as far as, let's say, K-State's number one in the country and they lose to Baylor in November. Instead of going from 1 to 3, you're going to go from 1 to 9. And it's just it's really tough to trust a system like that. So I'm pretty undecided on it. I think what's going to happen is they're going to end up going to the SEC gets 4, Big Ten gets 4. I think the Big 12 and the ACC will each get 2. So what's that put you at 12? And then I think it'll expand to 16. So then you'll have a G5 spot and 3 at-larges. I think that's what we'll get. I think that's what looks prettiest on paper. And it's unfortunate that essentially what that's saying is Big 12 and ACC, you don't matter as much. you are not as important to college football as the SEC and the Big. And I know that sucks. I know that is a tough pill to swallow if you're a fan of a team in the Big 12 or the ACC, but like, unfortunately, we're just in a day and age where you're going to have to start accepting things and not necessarily pushing back. Like, you can stomp your feet, you can get mad, you can claim SEC bias all you want, and I'm not going to argue against you, but the power is where it is in college football, and it's not going to be changing anytime soon.
How does, in your opinion, we've had this conversation with other guests on this show, but how, in your opinion, how does the Big 12 and or the ACC, how do they go about changing their perception to make themselves get closer to being on the same playing field as the SEC and the Big 10? Is it even possible?
It's going to be an uphill battle. And I don't think anyone's ever really going to respect you in terms of a power. Like, nobody's ever going to look at Brett Yormark and say he's as influential to college football as Greg Sankey is. But what you can do is you can go win football games. You can go get your teams ranked higher. And I'm going to steal a line from Tim Fitzgerald, my old boss. I was listening to his podcast the other day. Someone in the Big 12 has to separate themselves. Someone needs to take a step forward. And I'm not saying make the Big 12 a one-team league where it's Oklahoma again and the league isn't respected, but you really need to show that this is not a league of 8 and 4 teams just beating up on each other, and then the conference champion and maybe the conference runner-up get in because they had a nice season and they got those 2 spots. No, you need your conference champion to be 12-0, 11-1 going into the Big 12 championship. That way, that team's going to get in, and then your second team's going to get in, and you might be able to have a third team if they're 9-3 or 10-2. And I know that's so much easier said than done. I know it's not a league that really like allows for that. So I'm kind of speaking something into existence that I don't know that's ever going to happen, but that's what the Big 12 and the ACC need. You need more teams to step up and show we're not just a good middle of the pack team that separated itself in terms of winning the right games, or a good team that won all of the games. We won double-digit games, and we clearly planted ourselves in Arlington. We didn't need a tiebreaker to get here. We are a good football team, and you need 2 or 3 of those before people are going to start respecting you, because right now nobody looks at the Big 12 that way. Like, all right, I respect what Arizona State did last year. They obviously had Texas right on the ropes in the college football playoff. It's tough to say that, they're not a legitimate contender there, but at the same time, I don't really think anybody looked at the Big 12 last year and was like, oh, they got a big powerhouse team out of there. It was Arizona State, and they were a fun story and they got hot, but that's not really what I'm talking about. So if you're K-State, for example, a team that's favored to win the Big 12 this year, go out and assert your dominance. Go take it. Go win 9, 10, 11 games and show you belong, and then the rest of the league needs to carry the slack as well.
With that being said, Riley Gates, our guest here from On3 Sports, I also find it interesting because, and I've had this conversation with many people as well, because I find it to be very fascinating, is that you look at other conference, like it would help for the Big 12, for in this example, to gain ground on the Big 10 and the SEC, is if they played each other a lot more, or, in whatever you want to call it, in the non-conference slate or bowl games. And of course, the Big 12 got those wins. But I feel like those opportunities are going to become lesser and lesser and lesser, because SEC and the Big 10 be like, well, we're guaranteed these many spots, or we know we're in the catbird seat, so we have to play these other teams. And so it's going to be really hard for the Big 12 to show itself against other conference, don't you think?
Yeah, it really is. And I don't know if it's too late in the negotiations. Obviously, that's not something we can know. But if you go to this automatic qualifier system where you allow the SEC to have 4 and the Big 10 to have 4, why don't we put in a stipulation that says, okay, that's fine, but you need to give us a chance to earn more than 2 spots. So every Big 12 team is guaranteed an SEC opponent or a Big 10 opponent in the non-conference. And yeah, you might draw Auburn one year. You might draw LSU, and you might get your teeth kicked in front of everybody. But unfortunately, that just means you don't deserve a spot in the college football playoff if you can't hang with these teams. Like, the point of the college football playoff is not to just be like, oh, hey, look at us, we made the playoff. Let's buy some merch and show everybody how we were in the playoff. No, like, the point of the playoff is to have a legitimate chance to win a national championship. So if you can't go beat an SEC team or a Big Ten team in September, maybe you just don't deserve that spot. So I would, if I was Brett Yormark, or if I would make that push. I would say I want all of my teams to have that guaranteed spot. And you might draw a really good team and you might draw a really bad team. I don't really know how that would fall out. But I think that would give you the better chance to push for those spots, to get extra teams in there. And it's not just, oh, how cute, the Big 12 and the ACC got their 2 little bids in. Well, the SEC got 6 because we had 4 automatic qualifiers and 2 at-larges. Like, no, let's go fight for 3. Let's go see if we can get 3 in, and show that, yeah, the power might be shifting towards the SEC and the Big Ten, but we're still here.
He is Riley Gates of On3 Sports. Riley, thank you so much, my friend, for spending some time with us today. Have a great rest of your week. We'll catch up soon.
You betcha, man. Anytime.
Once again, great stuff there from Riley Gates of On3 Sports. Yeah, I always enjoy visiting with him. He's got some great perspectives, and there's just a lot of questions that are going to get answered here, well, we think, within the next couple of months and years. We will see. All right, let's get to our final break. We'll come back, wrap up with some thoughts on the Women's College World Series, and Kansas State has got its quarterback of the future. That's next here on the Morning Blitz.
Looking for a delicious meal on the go? Stop by Cowboy Corner in Goodland, Kansas. Start your day with our classic biscuits and gravy, or enjoy a fresh, made-to-order sub sandwich for lunch. Whatever you're craving, we've got you covered. Our friendly staff is always ready to serve with a smile. And while you're here, check out our convenience store, filled with snacks, drinks, and everything else you need to keep you going. Whether you're fueling up or just hungry, Cowboy Corner has something for everyone. Stop by today and enjoy great food, friendly faces, and a variety of snacks all in one spot.
Spring is in full swing at Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware. Get your lawn and garden looking their best with Ultimate Fertilizer and gear up with Eco blowers and mowers for the season ahead. Tackling a project, they've got a surplus of quality lumber ready for all your building needs. And when the work's done, fire up the fun with their wide selection of grills, smokers, and griddles from Traeger, Weber, and Blackstone. Stop by Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware in Goodland and Colby, your one-stop shop for spring projects, big and small.
Convenience just got an upgrade. Farmers State Bank of Oakley is excited to announce the opening of our brand new ATM along Highway 40, right next to Sonic Drive-In. Whether you're grabbing a snack or on the go, you can quickly access your cash without the detour. It's banking made easy, right where you need it. Farmers State Bank of Oakley, member FDIC.
No matter what kind of trucking you do, Wilkins Truck and Trailer in Goodland is there for all your big rigs needs. They have hoppers, flatbeds, tankers, and utility trailers, day cab and sleeper cab trucks, plus one of the best parts departments around. Carrying quality name brands like Sherco tarps, Minimizer fenders, truck defender bumpers, and Lincoln Chrome exhaust systems and accessories. See their inventory on West Highway 24 in Goodland or on the web at wilkinstruck.com.
Looking for insurance that actually puts you first? At the insurance agency in downtown Goodland, we're independent, which means we work for you. Whether it's auto, home, crop, or business, we shop top carriers to get you the best coverage at the best price. No pushy sales, just honest advice from people who live right here in your community. Give us a call today at 785-899-5011 or stop by 1020 Main in Goodland and let's get you covered. The insurance agency. Insurance the way it should be.
The only way to start your day.
I don't know how to put this, but I'm kind of a big deal.
With Ross Volkmer in the Morning Blitz.
All right, we got about 5 minutes to go here on our program today. Thanks again to Riley Gates for joining our show. Another reminder, folks, that the coming up this weekend, we have the Highway 24 garage sales going on. I hope everyone gets out and experiences. I know we're having a garage sale at my house, so if you want to stop by, great. But yeah, 24 garage sales going on this weekend. Be a part of our Rock the Block NWKS Radio Summer Giveaway that's going on right now. You make sure you download the game on your phone and play a chance for a grand prize. So yes, be a lot of fun. Go to nwksradio.net for more information, or you can text the word rock to 785-460-0790. Find more information about how to be a part of Rock the Block and have a chance to win a huge giveaway at the end of this summer. So Last night, Women's College World Series, a very intriguing game. Texas comes from behind to win 2-1 over Nigeri Kennedy and the Texas Tech Red Raiders. Offense is going to be I always feel like it is in the finals, but offense is always kind of at a premium. There were 7 combined hits and 3 combined runs. It was not a lot of offense. Pitchers were fantastic. Tegan Kavan of Texas, 7 innings, 3 hits, 1 run. It wasn't even earned with 3 strikeouts and a walk. And while Kennedy goes out there, goes up 6 innings, 4 hits, 2 runs, both earned, no walks, 7 strikeouts. The thing that the point in this game, for those who didn't watch, it was in the top of the 6th. There were 2 outs. There was a runner at second and third. It was Texas's second best chance to put runs on the board. They loaded the bases in the first, and they didn't get anything. So we're still and Texas Tech is up 1-0, but 2 runners in scoring position, and they're trying to, and Texas Tech is attempting to purposefully or intentionally walk Rachel Atwood, the catcher for Texas, who, by the way, was 0 for the College World Series, didn't have a hit. Well, in the trying to intentionally walk her by throwing a rise ball, Nigeri Kennedy didn't get it high enough, and Atwood took a swing at it and poked it into center field, and 2 runs came in to score for Texas, and that was all they needed to get the win 2-1 last night. And anyway, after that happened, a great listener, Larry, who listens to the show quite often, he texted me, and he goes, "That's what $1 million will get you, someone who can't even throw an intentional walk pitch," which, I mean, to an extent, it's true. It's just, it's like something out of a movie. I know it's in a baseball movie I've seen before where they're trying to walk someone, and it's like I said, it's going to be it's interesting, and that intentional walk failure is something that you say, if you got to go back and watch it. Like I said, they were trying to intentionally walk the cleanup hitter there for Texas, and they could not do it. They could not do it. And anyway, Texas ends up getting the win. And so an intriguing game 1. We'll see if Texas Tech can take game 2 and we have to play a game 3, or if Texas captures their first national championship in softball, which blows my mind that they haven't done that yet. Absolutely blows my mind. So we'll see. Game 2 tonight, 7 Central, 6 Mountain Time on ESPN. Texas and Texas Tech. Like I said last night, very interesting to see your $1 million pitcher not be able to throw an intentional walk pitch, and it gets hit out into center field. So, all right, let's get to the walk-off.
And back lifts his ball high and deep to right. How about a walk-off Gray? Thomas to the 10. Denver's going on to New England. They win it on the first play of overtime. Mahomes swings it. It's there. Hardman. Jackpot. Kansas City.
Talked about the Rockies. They have the day off today after sweeping, once again, the Marlins. The Royals did not get a game in yesterday. It was postponed due to weather. They have a doubleheader today, 12:45 Central, and then 6:45 Central time, a doubleheader on AM 790 KXXX. If I can tune in to watch that or listen to that, obviously. A new quarterback has been added to Kansas State for the coming year. The class of 2026. They have their quarterback to Kansas State. I think it's Miles Tiadecki is how you say his name. He's out of Austin, Texas. He's the Texas 6A Offensive Player of the Year. Put up some unbelievable numbers last year. His team went 15-1, won a state championship 24-17 over South Lake Carroll. Threw for over 3,200 yards, 48 touchdowns, and 7 picks. So he was very, very good in his junior season. But yeah, he was really only getting Ivy League school offers before Kansas State got into the mix with Cincinnati. So we'll see. But Miles Tiadecki is apparently the next quarterback coming to Kansas State. I have a hard time getting behind this kind of stuff anymore because with the portal and stuff, you don't even know if this guy will take a snap. Hopefully he does for Kansas State's sake, but you don't even know with the portal and all that stuff. That's why I have a hard time getting behind recruiting anymore, because there's no guarantee that those guys are going to be there. They could be playing their college football somewhere else. They just said, for now, we're going to be at this place. All right, that does it for our show. Thanks to Riley Gates. Thanks to you for listening. As always, we appreciate you. We're back again tomorrow on a Friday show. We hope to talk to you then. It's been the Blitz.
Classic rock plays here. This is Rocket 102.5, KKCI, Goodland, Burlington, Colby, and on